Hi Scorpio, I'm going to be doing a self-love tarot reading. These are general messages, so if it doesn't resonate with you this week, come back next week, maybe I can help you then. These are self-love messages. They're designed for a spirit to showcase areas where we might be letting ourselves down, or we're not being authentic enough with ourselves. Part of self-love is self-acceptance, and it's hard to accept parts of yourself you haven't acknowledged. I do a 6-card spread, Scorpio, and then the 7th card is Spirit Message. I shuffled a little before we got started, but one more can't hurt, right? Unless I shuffle them out of order, and then I would be upset. Not out of order, I just try to keep them all upright. And then sometimes they come out reversed, and I'm like, ah. Okay, Scorpio, so I do a 6-card spread. I think I said that or didn't say it, whatever. But the first card is going to be how you feel or where you are. That second card is going to be something that Spirit wants you to prioritize. In this third position, this could be, something that you thought to yourself, oh, well, I'll deal with it later, or, I don't really have time right now, or I just don't need to focus on it. And Spirit's like, no, that's the thing you should focus on now. And this fourth position is going to be something Spirit wants you to acknowledge, to be more authentic with yourself. In the fifth position, it's going to be something Spirit wants you to let go of. In the sixth position, it's going to be something Spirit wants you to acknowledge. This could be something in your environment already, but maybe you just didn't know it, or you didn't know it was for you. And in the seventh position, the card I put is from Spirit. Spirit message direct from Source itself. So let's get started, Scorpio. Here in this position of how you're feeling right now, we have the Prince of Wands. The Prince of Wands is just like our Knight of Wands. The Knights imply movement, direction. Some Knights, not all the Knights are actually moving. So see, here we have our Prince of Wands, and his chariot is being pulled by a lion. Lions represent all kinds of things. They represent strength, they represent bravery, they represent pride, they represent ego. And then we have the fire that's being pulled behind him. The Knight of Wands, traditionally, he's not the most stable of knights. He is promising movement, but this is probably fiery movement. I tend to think of like fire energy as more reactive and not well thought out. I don't mean that like fire in general is like that. Just for this particular situation, it could be, Scorpio, that you're in a situation where you have, a lot of energy toward a situation, and you may want to put in the movement to get that situation going. But I would be very careful, Scorpio, and I would advise to think your way through things, right? You didn't show up as the Knight of Swords, who is very well thought out, or the Knight of Pentacles, which I would have been like, okay, but you're not moving. But at least I would have known you were thinking. When I see the Prince of Wands, I'm always concerned about whether or not what you're doing is something that, well, you've thought about, like you've decided, you've made a decision to do, or if it's something that you're just reacting to. So maybe, somebody said you were cute, and you were like, I don't really like them, but they're giving me attention, and so I'll talk to them, but then I'll only talk to them for a little while, and then when they start to catch feels, I'll be grossed out, and then I'll be like, well, I was just talking to you anyway. That's like that reactive energy. In the position of something Spirit wants you to prioritize, we have some interference here, Scorpio. If you look, the robes are descending from heaven, and even though she doesn't have eyes, she is looking up at them. But she's free here. There's no one stopping her from, separating herself from these cords. There are swords all around her. She could pick up one and separate herself, but for whatever the reason, she's just standing there, beholden. She's held by something. She acknowledges this interference. Her little face is looking up. So universe is saying is if you're aware that there's some kind of interference or some kind of outside direction, right? Because of this reactive energy, I would think that would also be something you have to pay attention to. Okay, I'm trying to think. Interference. Who could interfere with you? Okay, let's say like a work situation. So let's say you have a coworker who like doesn't do the things they're supposed to do, and then anytime it comes up, they try to figure out a way to blame it on you. Well, so and so didn't let me know I was supposed to do that, or so and so didn't give me the part of the thing or whatever it was so that I could, or so and so didn't get back to me on the email. That would be interference. And if you're in already this reactive energy, Scorpio, then I would be concerned that because of the interference, your reaction might be something that's too much. Anytime anyone makes us tries to make us look bad, Scorpio, it's just because they themselves are worried that they don't look as good as we do. Sorry, but if this comes up, don't react to it, because the thing that happens is the person who gets the most aggressive or the person who gets the most upset is usually the person who gets in trouble the most. I would just be cautious about that from personal experience. Oh, what the universe wants you to make more time for. This could be something you put on the back burner or something you said, you know, I don't have time to deal with, I'll deal with it later, but the universe is like, no, pay attention to it, deal with it now. Look, we have the Lovers, Scorpio. Okay. I see a lot of reactive energy here. I see a lot of interference. But universe is saying, hey, you need to deal with this interference, and then you need to prioritize this Lovers. So there might be someone in your life already right now who you have a relationship with, and this could just mean that you aren't prioritizing that relationship enough. If you do have a lot of stress coming from interference, that could be one of the reasons that, you know, you've had to put that on the back burner. The universe is saying, pick it up. I don't do relationship readings, but it's important to know that, like, Spirit, Source, God, Gaia, whoever, they put us here and they made us individuals, right? We have our own brains, we have our own eyes, we have our own ears, so we can take in information and we decide for ourselves how we want to act. But they didn't make us individual because there are all kinds of people on the planet. So self-love is really about learning to redirect patterns for yourself, but so that you can deal with other people better. If there is like a reason that you're not focused on your partner, then you should focus on your partner more now. Spirit's saying that. If you don't have a partner, then this could just be getting yourself ready for that idea, you know? Sometimes it's fun to think about flirting and you're like, ew, it's gonna be so much fun, and like, hee hee. And then we like talk to somebody and it's kind of like, wow, that actually got like difficult. And then it's like time to meet that person and your anxiety makes you want to barf all over them. If this isn't something you've done in a while, you know, just like start working on that not barfing on people thing. I get really bad social anxiety, like super bad. So I get to that flirting stage and I'm like, haha, and then they're like, hey, let's meet. And I'm like, oh, sorry, no, I have crippling anxiety. I can't do that. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So I have to work on that. That's something I have to work on, right? In the fourth position of something that Spirit wants you to acknowledge to be more authentic with yourself, Scorpio, we have justice. Yeah, so I'm getting this sense that, like, because of this interference, I would think that there is some kind of injustice going on in your life right now, Scorpio. I get this card a lot, actually, and I think it's because we're doing the self-love readings, and I think that interference can come from so many different places, right? Because, like, it doesn't have to be something that's tangible. While there is interference, we don't actually see where those cords are coming from. This could just be that maybe you yourself are trying to go in a direction that's not meant for you, and so the universe is trying to redirect you, which could be interference in your plans. It could be that you have a coworker that's trying to interfere with your success. It could be that there's someone in your relationship trying to interfere with your relationship. It could be your own anxieties trying to interfere with your relationship. This is the general reading, so it really just goes with however you're feeling. But what I'm seeing is that there is this interference, and universe wants you to showcase more justice, okay? So Scorpio, I don't know if you know this, but y'all get kind of a bad rap for being crazy. You're my rising sign, so, you know, I feel that. I feel that. You know, sometimes the world makes us crazy. It's not me, okay? It's not. But because of that, like, and I don't want to say this, but like, you know, like how pit bulls, like you take your dog out in public and they're like, oh, it's a pit bull. Yeah, but my dog is much better behaved than whatever else it is that you have. Because I know that my dog is a pit bull, because I know people are going to see her differently, I have adjusted her behavior in so many ways. She doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. And Scorpio, in this reading, I don't see you getting that benefit of the doubt either. And so what I'm saying is people expect you to be one way, and you have to be careful. You don't want to come across that way. When you confirm people's biases in their brains, what happens is they put you into like they compartmentalize you, they judge you, and they put you into a little box. And it's incredibly difficult to get out of that box. And so while you as a person may not care, think about it as like this coworker who's talking shit on you. This whole entire time they're talking to their boss, and every single time this person tells your boss, oh yeah, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, your boss sits there and thinks, so-and-so's not doing their work. So-and-so's not doing their work. They're only getting half the story. So you have to, reshape people's ideas of you. If this is a coworker who's talking on you at work, you need to talk to your boss. Just go and be like, do you have 10 minutes? I just want to have a quick sit down. If you are not like, if your office is one of those like open environments, it can be really, really difficult, really, really challenging, really, really scary. But here's what you say. You go in and you sit down and you say, hey, I have this coworker. While I understand that working as a team means that we all have to be working towards the same goal, I do not feel like my coworker and I are working towards the same goals. It seems like my goal is to blah, 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 and it seems like their goal is to not do those things, or their goal is to, it seems like my goal is to get the work done, but it seems like they are not meeting me to accomplish those goals. I wanted to talk with you, and then maybe we can talk to see if there's a way that we can work together more effectively. Unfortunately, working in an office does mean that you have to be around these people all the time, and it's very rare that like people will leave office settings. People get very comfortable in office settings. So if this is that kind of situation, then it really is something that you'll have to focus on. And you're gonna have to show more of this balanced energy, okay? So the thing about justice, right? We see here, this feather right there is white, and there is this heart here. The white is supposed to indicate the purity of your intentions. Is what you want equal and balanced with what's in your heart, or how you're trying to get what you want? So Scorpio, if this person's interfering with you, even if it's not a work situation, this could just be like a sibling. It could be like your relationship with your family, or, maybe you drink and that interferes with you having a healthy relationship with your partner. Whatever it is, the universe is saying that right now you're very in this reactive energy. Tit for tat. You said this, so I'll do that. And the universe is saying, no, instead, Scorpio, what you really need to focus on and showcase to other people is this justice, is this balance. How are your intentions being perceived? Are other people looking at you and seeing those intentions? So if this is your, a coworker and they're just talking on you, and every time they say something, your boss sees someone who's not getting their work done. And every time you don't defend yourself or you don't stand up for yourself, your boss continues to see what the other person is putting in front of them. Okay? So that would make me frustrated. Then I would want to react. I would want to say, why are you always listening to them? Why don't you listen to me? Why do they get to just say whatever they want? Why don't they ever have to do their work? I might throw something. I might lift some papers up and just be like, okay? But universe is saying, don't do that. Because whatever that is, that's not really self-love. Self-love is about redirecting our habits. We learn as we go through life to give more of our energy away than we get in return. So to change those habits, we have to figure out how we can address this interference without becoming reactive by showcasing more of our balanced side. And that is usually, generally, almost always going to come down to some kind of conversation with somebody else. I studied human communication. I know how to talk in like all kinds of different settings. I've taken conflict management and persuasion. I've taken interviewing and interrogation, and I still get like my feelings. I talk about my feelings, and I'm a Pisces. I'm a Pisces too, and I study communication, which now makes sense. But like also, and then what usually happens is I get all jittery and like parts of you start to shake. You start having a hard time breathing, or you feel like you're gonna cry, and you just really want to get your point across. Well, we have to come at it from like a really balanced place. So if this person is pissing you off, go home, tell your partner about it. Make sure your partner has the mental space and capacity to handle you venting to them. And then, tell them about it and just be like, I fucking hate this fucking person. Just be as mad as you possibly can. Write it all down. Get it all out in some way. And then go in and talk to your boss and say, hey, look, these are the things that I've noticed. These are the things I want to do. These are the things I feel like I cannot accomplish because I don't have the proper team setting. Is there anything we can do to address this? I'm not the best at like talking about my feelings in front of people. I'm not the best at, remaining calm or just remaining, balanced. And I really want to work from a balanced place. if you came to a person like that, I think one, they would like definitely take your side, or not take your side, but like at least be able to see where you're coming from. And if it's true that in the past you haven't been the most like standing up for yourself, explaining to them that like, you know, you do have a problem being reactive and you have a problem sharing your feelings. And in a work environment, you shouldn't actually have to deal with either of those things. This should be a place where we both go to work. And so feeling like I haven't been able to get my job done has made me feel this way. People will respect that. They will. And then, of course, like if you ask for help and you are in a supportive working environment, which I would hope that you are, your boss would be like, hey, look, great, that's great. Let's talk. Let's bring in our coworker. We can talk about that too. Those are always super awkward, but then afterwards, your coworker has no reason to continue the same behavior. You watch how quickly they have to change things up. You watch how quickly they pick somebody else. Or you watch how quickly they change their tactics. Not saying that every person who acts out is a narcissist, but like when people do act out, it's usually because of themselves, right? But if you allow a doorway open or a window for them to reach you, they're always going to come for you. If you make that like an impossible barrier, they have to figure out somewhere else to go. And this position of something the universe wants you to let go of is this Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups, we see here, she says luxury. I think this is, she says luxury because it's a luxury to be able to integrate every aspect of yourself. We see here that there's that fourth cup floating above her head, but then if you look at her reflection, it's only up until her shoulders, because that fourth cup is something that makes her finished. It's something that makes her complete. And if she integrated that fourth cup, if she paid attention to it, she would be reflected down here fully. So universe is saying that there are parts of yourself that you're not acknowledging, and we have to let that go. She does look sad, but like she doesn't have a face. Like these people don't have faces, so you can't really tell. But her head is kind of down. The way that her arms are, the way that her legs are, it would say to me that she has like this dejected sort of feeling. Like maybe like she feels like her work isn't enough, you know. And so she's sitting there looking at herself like, oh, I have all of this, but like, why am I still not whole? And what would finish her, what would make her whole is up here. And for each of us, that's going to be different. It could be learning, you know, to like just temper ourselves, temperance, patience. It could be that, but you're not choosing to look at it. And so the universe is saying that whatever it is that you're not choosing to look at, we want you to let go of the fear or whatever it is holding you back. And this position is something Spirit wants you to acknowledge. Okay, so see, like this, I've never had this card make sense, but this is great, okay? And this position that Spirit wants you to acknowledge, okay, is the Two of Wands. Traditionally, the Two of Wands is the guy who has gone out and he's trying to find a place to lay his next wand, to claim some kind of land for himself, right? So that he can build his home there. This card says Dominion at the top. So the universe is acknowledging that in this situation, you have something that is yours, or a place that is yours. You could be on the right track, you could be in the right job, you could be in the right relationship, whatever it is, but universe is saying that thing is for you. I've been using the job analogy this whole entire time, but because there are the lovers there, this could be a relationship. Again, it's just whatever resonates for you. But in this, what I'm seeing here is that you have this reactive energy towards this interference, and universe wants you to showcase this balance. The lover's energy might even not be like another relationship. It could just be like, this is the energy the universe wants you to give out, this loving energy. But whatever it is, universe is saying that this is for you, Dominion. This is your thing. This could be your relationship, your job, your whatever it is. So to me, that would indicate that the situation won't change unless you choose to handle the situation in a different way. Sorry. But message from the universe, spirit message right here is abundance, okay? The Three of Cups. This tells me that somebody who was alone in this Prince of Swords energy, alone in this Eight of Swords energy, alone in this Justice, and whatever this integration is, will come through this. If you do come through this, there will be this abundance. And it's not material abundance, this is relational abundance. Whatever this step is, or whatever this is that we're trying to overcome, is going to help you become somebody who is easier to relate to. The Prince of Wands, I think that he is someone who can get things done. If this is the energy that you're feeling right now, you can definitely get things done. But can somebody approach you? I mean, there is fire busting out of your chariot and this lion there. Maybe right now you're in this unapproachable energy. And if there's interference and you're feeling, you know, stuck or trapped somehow, then I can totally understand that. Let's go ahead and clarify, though. I'm going to be using the Shamanic Healing Oracle deck. They are beautiful cards. So I will continue to show you as we go. Okay, so universe says right now you're in this Prince of Wands energy. I said that, you know, it could be like prideful, it could be ego too. Ego deaths are extremely hard. I don't have that here anywhere. That's another reason I don't think that, like, I don't know. Anyway, overall what I'm getting is the sense of where you are is where you're supposed to be right now. So really it's about you changing the way you deal with the situation. Don't leave the situation because it's for you. I get so often when I do these readings, I'm telling people constantly, like, are you going the wrong direction? Are you trying to force something that's not for you? But this Dominion card in this position tells me this is your Dominion. This is where you belong. So the situation itself is not going to change. What universe wants is for you to change, Scorpio. Get out of this reactive energy. Embrace this loving aspect of yourself. Really focus or really try to bring balance to yourself, not the situation. You'd be surprised how, like, very little power or control we have in situations. Almost the only control we have in our whole entire lives is our reaction to things. How we handle them. And universe is saying right now you're in this very reactive energy, which is fair, because if you don't know how to act, or if you don't know how to react differently, like if you literally never learned, if you grew up in a house where, like, just blowing up over small things was common, it's not that you don't know that it's not the right way to it's not that you don't know it's not the right way to handle it. It's just that your immediate reaction is based on what you've learned. So your immediate reaction could be to be reactive, and that hardly ever goes well. Again, I'm a Scorpio rising, I'm a Pisces, I have a lot of feelings, and sometimes I can't just deal with them, you know, quickly or effectively enough, and I will, like, blurt rude things out. I had a coworker once, and she wanted something from me, and I was in the middle of talking to somebody else, and she was very short, so she tried to get underneath of me to, like, move past me to get it, and I lost my shit. I was just like, what are you doing? Get away from me. Right? Like, and it was just like a really small, like, totally small thing, but, like, she was in my personal space. I was doing something else. I had already asked her to wait for me to finish what I was doing, and I just felt like her behavior was incredibly disrespectful to me and my personal space. And when I snapped, it wasn't pretty. It was a reaction. And it took me, like, weeks to apologize, really, because what I had done was very rude. And, like, she was smaller than me, and then so I was yelling at her, and it was like a power dynamic, and then also I was, like, above her in the position. It was really, really unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be that kind of person. And it's not about changing the situation, because things like that are always going to present themselves. It's about changing us. We can't react like that. We just can't. But if we do, you know, react poorly, it's important to not be mean to yourself about it, because that just, like, it reinforces that negative behavior. Like a dog, okay? So, like, if my dog is barking at somebody and I yell at her, don't bark. Well, to her, I'm just barking. So now we're both just barking at this person. Or if she's barking and I hit her, that just reinforces the idea that what she's doing, this aggressive behavior that she has, is going to be rewarded with aggressive behavior. So next time she'll just bark, and then maybe if I go to spank her, she'll, like, you know, try to get me. So, like, we have to be careful about, you know, the way that we respond to things, and the way that we treat ourselves about those responses. I read something a long time ago talking about how, like, a girl who was raised with a really judgmental mom, when she sees people or when she sees stuff, her initial reaction to things is to be really judgmental. But because she developed an eating disorder because of her mom's being judgmental and her hypercriticism, she had to, like, go through therapy and, like, learn to redirect those thoughts. But they still come to her because that is what she learned, but she has learned to redirect them. So if our initial response to something, Scorpio, is reactive, okay, 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 okay. As soon as you're calm, as soon as as soon as you're back into your body, because sometimes I'd be somewhere else, as soon as you come back and you realize that that behavior was unacceptable, you need to readdress the situation. You have to make sure that the situation is, manageable at that point. Like, if you've hurt somebody's feelings, is now the appropriate time to apologize? Yes. Do it as soon as you can. But make sure that they're ready for it, okay? Maybe you have to wait a day. Maybe you have to wait a while. Maybe you have to wait a week before you see them again. But the next time you see them, the next time that you both are calm, just be like, hey, I do want to apologize for my behavior. I'm a reactive person. This is something I am working on. Now, here's the really important part, Scorpio. If you apologize for something, you need to offer changed behavior. I'm really sorry that my behavior was inappropriate. I'm a reactive person, and this is something I'm working on. In the future, I promise to try harder to keep that part of myself from affecting you. Okay? And then we actually have to work harder. It's hard to say, and that's why I made that gross face, because now I have to admit to somebody that I have problems and that my behavior wasn't acceptable, and then promise to be better. And they probably aren't even worth being better too. Okay? But that's not the point. The point isn't that they have to be worth being better too. The point is that you are worth being better to other people and being better to yourself. Oh, I forgot to clarify. Sorry, Scorpio. Okay. So there is this sense of duality, and that is kind of what I'm getting from this Prince of Wands and this Justice. There is this sense that you are reactive, but you have the ability to be responsive. So there's a difference between reacting and responding. If someone says, oh, you're a butt face, and your response is, or your reaction is to punch them, or just to be like, well, you're a butt licker, that's a response. Or that's a reaction, right? Because it's just off the top of your head. Whatever comes first. You're a butt licker. You're a face licker. Whatever. Reaction, right? A response to that would be, I don't appreciate being called names. I don't want to talk to somebody like that. And then you can walk away. A response to a person, a coworker who's constantly talking on you, just being like, well, I tried to do that, but so-and-so didn't give me the email on time. Okay? Don't tell Brenda she's a bitch. Don't yell at her in front of the meeting, because that'll get you fired. You just wait. If there's no one else talking, say, whatever happened was true. Well, so-and-so was supposed to email me this. I got that email at 12:05. I emailed you at 12:07. I got the information to you as soon as it was available to me. If the problem isn't even with you, maybe we have to look down farther the chain. You don't want to throw people under the bus, but just be very honest. I got the email at 7:05. I emailed you 2 minutes later. If you can't get what you need to get done within that time frame, then that's something that you should talk to the boss about. Right? Honesty is always the best policy. If, for whatever reason, Scorpio, you are slacking, that's something that we have to look at too. But right now, I think that this is really coming from outside of you. So this sense of duality. There's two parts to every situation. There's two sides to everything. There's good in the bad. There's bad in the good. An emotional release might be something that will actually help you move past this reactive energy. Like I said, if there is anger, if there's something in there that you want to get out, burying it down deep is only going to lead to it exploding out later on when you don't have the control. Dealing with it in your own way in a safe space, I would definitely encourage that. We said that there is this interference right now, which again, I've only been using the work analogy. It could be anything in your life. Scorpio, you just have to take what resonates for you. But a good way to deal with this would be to ground, okay? Maybe this interference is something that you only kind of vaguely are aware of. Maybe, maybe you run your own business, and for whatever reason, you're starting to lose clients. It could be that somebody else, had talked about you badly, and you're not aware of that. You're just aware of the fact that you're starting to lose clients. Spending time, really just thinking about grounding, sitting outside in nature, taking walks, doing yoga, keeping your body active while your mind has time to, wander around and look through things. It's going to help you find where that interference stemmed from. It's going to help you find, it's going to help you follow those strings back to their original source, taking that time. It could be maybe honest to goodness, maybe the reason that your work partner has such a problem with you is because, like, one time they said something to you and you didn't respond in a way that they thought was, appropriate. Maybe they came back from vacation, they were like, oh my god, do you want to see my work trip or my vacation trip photos? And you're like, no, not really. And you meant it as a joke. Well, now this person hates you. Okay? So when we take the time to be alone with ourselves, give ourselves a few minutes to really think, really look back and examine our own actions, where we've been, the path that we've walked, it's easier to find where things went wrong. I myself am very good at not looking at reality. It's crazy, honestly. But when I sit down and I really think about it, I can go, oh, yeah, that's where I lost you. Yeah, no, because I thought you said ogres, but you said odor, and then I was at Shrek. Yeah, I'm like so far away from whatever it was we were talking about now. So it really just comes down to you. Spending time with yourself, and then, like, looking back to follow where these chords come from, okay? Yeah, that's part of self-love. Sometimes I think people forget that, like, we are dealing with things, but others are also always dealing with us. When we show ourselves self-love, we allow other people to experience love through us. If you're feeling this interference, it's entirely possible that you are also giving interference. If you're feeling this Knights of Wands energy, it could be that you're redirecting all that aggression to other places. Focusing on where the incident originated and anything that you've done to kind of perpetuate it, I would cap that. We're adults. We shouldn't be perpetuating negative energy or negative, feelings. But going in and grounding, finding where that negative energy came from, where those cords came from, and then anything that you might have done to, like, instigate that, and then re-looking at those, those behaviors, because it's important to get love from other people, but it's also important to give love. We have the Lovers, and so the universe is saying that this is something they want you to prioritize. Now, we see the family here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a family. If this is a situation and the interference you're going through is for family, take what resonates with you. But the Lovers here indicates to me that you need to be in a more loving position. I know it's really hard to love people that aggress you or, like, make you feel, irritated, or, like, people who do things against you, but what we want to focus on here, Scorpio, is this idea of, like, emotional space, right? If you're at work every day, you put your emotions into it, whether you realize it or not. You put time and effort and energy into something. That's emotions. And so because of that, we get, like, kind of tied to things. And when somebody comes around and they're screwing with what we have, it could make what we feel is solid feel very unstable, very tumultuous. So we have to be careful about the amount of emotional energy that we put into things. If this is our job and we really like it, and we're constantly putting energy into it, that's really, really good. But if there's interference and we can't put the energy we want into the job, then we have to change our approach. The job is great. The universe is saying this is your dominion. This is not the problem. It's how we deal with it. If we want to move away from being angry all the time, we ourselves have to, one, look at the behaviors and the beliefs that lead to us being angry all the time. And then we have to change those habits. This could be anything. But showing more love, let's say, like, it is your coworker that's just being terrible, and, like, every time that everything comes up, they tell your boss, like, oh, no, it was so-and-so. No, it was so-and-so. Well, if you're the kind of person who walks around the office showing self-love and showing love to other people, your boss is going to have a really hard time understanding why this person keeps throwing you under the bus. To them, it's going to look inauthentic. And when people believe other people to be inauthentic, we feel that sense of disconnection. So you really are effectively putting the blame back where it goes by showcasing, your ability to be less reactive and more loving, because it won't make sense. If you're a reactive person and your coworker's just like, well, so-and-so, she always gets so crazy, she doesn't respond to my emails, people are going to be like, yeah, that makes sense. But if she's like, well, so-and-so, she doesn't respond to my emails, people are going to be like, well, she responds to me all the time, and she always puts, like, have a great day at the bottom. So I'm not sure, like, maybe you two just have a problem. Oh, and then look, that blame effectively collectively just got shifted back because people can't believe what that person is saying about you. So universe is saying prioritize showing more love in your life. Enjoy, Scorpio. If there's shit you like, talk about it. You know, if there's stuff that makes you happy, bring that into your work life. Yes, work should be serious, work should be taken serious, but you are not yourself just because you walk through the door. If there's things you like, if there's things that, you know, you find funny, if there's love that you can bring into a situation, do whatever you have to. Or do whatever you can to make yourself feel more comfortable, especially in a work situation. Work is a really uncomfortable place anyway. And everyone is always just like, well, you need to have a job. You need to work. You can't just have like the best job ever. Well, what if I don't want a job where I don't feel comfortable? If you're in a job where you don't feel comfortable, let's please reassess, Scorpio. My email address is in the box below. You can also hit me up on Instagram. We can talk about it. Why do you feel the need to be in a job that you don't like? But I get the sense that you do like this. Whatever the situation is, I get the sense that you do like it. Universe is saying this is for you. So this right here, this self-love reading is just about how we can grow. Nuh-uh. Look at this. Honoring your energy, okay? Scorpio, if you're in this reactive energy and it feels shitty, I believe that. Because it is. It's draining, actually, is what it is. When we can manage our response to things, we can decide how much energy we put into it. If we're just reacting, chances are we're just taking whatever energy we have right now and just throwing it somewhere. Oof, that can get so ugly and so messy because, like, you can hit so many things that you didn't intend to hit with your angry energy. So if you're in this position where you're reactive and you don't like it, I totally get that. Honor your energy by being in a place that makes you feel more comfortable. If it's being loving with people around you, that's probably true because universe says to showcase this balance. Are your intentions as pure as what's going on in your heart? Are your actions as pure? You could be a really loving person, Scorpio, like, honest to goodness. You could be, like, a great mom and a grandma. Maybe on the weekends you, like, quilt and, like, crochet blankets for your babies. Like, you're a really nice person, and you make cakes for no reason. But this one person just fucking tests you, just really pushes you. But we have to look at that. We do. Because whenever there's someone in our environment that is completely the opposite as us, it's giving us so many opportunities to learn more about ourselves. We're already at 37 minutes, and I have a few more to go. Just really quickly, I had this class once where it was mentoring and leadership. It was literally a class it was literally a class to teach you how to be an effective leader. And one of the girls in the class that we had, I honestly believe she was a narcissist because everything had to be about her. She had to be involved in every aspect. If it wasn't about her, she was complaining about somebody. Usually me, because I didn't like her and I was very loud and, like, aggressive about it. But that was a class and they couldn't fire me or kick me out of the class because I already paid my tuition. So really it was just about keeping us both on opposite ends of the room. She was very different from me. As we go through the semester, we learn, like, the difference between a leader and a boss. Now, a leader is somebody who looks at you, gets to know you, figures out your talents, and then puts you in a job that would benefit you. A boss is somebody who says, I have this job to get done, you need to do it. That was the difference between her and I. She wanted everyone's attention to be on her. She wanted to get people to do whatever it is that she wanted. I just wanted to be in the class and learn to be a leader, okay? I just wanted to learn to teach other people to be effective leaders. We were very opposite. We did not get along. But that was, like, really kind of counterintuitive to who I am usually. Usually I'm very bubbly and bouncy and happy. She just happened to bring out a lot of bad sides of me. And that taught me that I don't want to be the kind of person that, you know, puts other people down or makes everything about themselves. I want to be the kind of person that helps other people, builds them up. So if you are already a loving person, you just need to show more love in this situation. If you are a reactive person, find what feels better for you. If the reaction is hard work and you're getting in trouble for it, let's change our sets of behaviors. Yeah. It could be that whatever is going on in this situation, especially if it is a work environment situation, because you're not in this balanced sense for yourself, you're actually not in alignment with yourself, which means that you're not receiving all the things that are for you. And if you're not in alignment with yourself, it could be that you are blocking your own material abundance, Scorpio. And the universe really wants you to focus on this because this is part of your growth. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's getting out of the situation. I think it's really addressing the situation because of this Dominion card. I think that whatever is flowing from, whatever is coming out of this wound or whatever causes you to be reactive, whatever it is. It could just be that, you know, you feel like your intentions are being misunderstood, and that's really frustrating. It could be that you feel like this person doesn't have respect for you, and that's really frustrating. But from wherever you are feeling those feelings, I really recommend sitting, grounding, meditating, following those strings back to their source, because you're not integrating something with yourself. You're not acknowledging something. And whatever is triggering these feelings could be just from somewhere else, honestly. It could just stem back farther than you think. And because you're not integrating those parts of yourself, Spirit is saying there has to be a death, okay? You have to go back and look at wherever that stems from. Try to figure out where that problem started. I'm here if you need me. But we have to, like, cut off this source. Because, let's just say, like, there's a wound, right? And it's still bleeding. Just, like, slapping a Band-Aid over it isn't going to stop that wound from bleeding. And if somebody comes up and they poke it, it's going to bleed even more. What you have to do is address the wound. Otherwise, anytime it gets poked, it's just going to bleed all over the place. I hope that makes sense. Universe is saying that you have to address that source of the bleeding. Psychic developments. Okay. So, Scorpio, I get the sense that, like, kind of maybe you're not listening to your body so much, because there's that part of you that you're not addressing. And so with the psychic developments, what the universe is telling me is that the more in touch with yourself that you get, allow yourself to be, the more in touch with your own intuition you're going to be. The more you listen to yourself, the easier it is to read yourself and understand what's happening. I woke up this morning, my tummy hurt, and I was like, dang, is it anxiety? Or is it because I went to the gym? And I had to think about it, and then I had to poo. And I was like, it was neither of those things. So, listening to yourself will help you continue to get better at listening to yourself. That's really good, because if you listen to yourself about where that wound comes from, you can help yourself repair it, fix it, take care of it. And then people who touch you, they won't bleed on you. But the next time you get a wound, it's going to be much, much easier to find, and then you'll already have a whole bunch of processes in place for healing that wound, right? Psychic development, I always think of as intuition. So just getting in closer contact with your intuition, dealing with this problem is going to help you. So I definitely think that this is a position, or this situation that you're in is for you and for your growth, because here we have this divine feminine energy. And the feminine energy is really about going inside and feeling how you feel, but also finding where those feelings come from. So again, I don't think the situation is the problem. I think that we, Scorpio, need to focus on changes. How can we change how we feel? We can change how we feel by finding that wound, figuring out what caused the wound. Was it people just not understanding you when you were growing up? Was it people not listening to your needs? Were they making you feel invalidated? What caused that wound, right? And then let's repatch that. That's what this situation is about. Because right now, or not even right now, maybe not, I'm not sure what your life is like, but because Spirit is promising this abundance, okay? If we can figure out what causes this reactive behavior, what causes this like negative reaction, we can change it. And then we become more personable. I have never yelled at a coworker the same way I yelled at that short coworker, and I did really feel very bad about it. But that was just a reaction. It came from nowhere. It just, actually, it came from a wound of me not feeling like people take me seriously. I feel like that all the time because I'm 32 and I still look like this and I still talk like this. And one time I was at work and my boss was like, when you answer the phone, don't say it to little kid voice. And I still did it because I feel sometimes like I am a little kid. However, I have gone inside and I have learned that my appearance has nothing to do with who I am. And if people just see me as a child, well, then that's more on them than it is on me. So, So, Scorpio, what I'm getting is the sense of needing to fix our reactiveness to things to make us more open to people and situations, to relationships in general, okay? And then the universe says this is your masculine energy. So what I love about this is that if we address the situation, remember we just said if we have changes, and if we go inside and we focus on our feelings and how the situation makes us feel, we can move past it by finding that wound. Well, the abundance card came with the masculine energy card, and the masculine energy card is the next step. Once we've gone inside and figured out how we feel, where that wound is, where it comes from, we can start addressing ways of fixing it. So if we can become less reactive, we'll make more friends. And that's what that masculine energy card is about. This is my last card, but I think that it's very important because it kind of just like restates everything that I've been talking about. It's an inner journey, Scorpio. I'm really sorry that this video is so long. I'm going to do just a really brief recap, okay? Right now we're in this reactive energy because there's some kind of interference. Something in our environment is going wrong. It's our environment. It's your environment. It is for you. So please do not think that the best way to handle the situation is just to pick up and leave, because the universe is saying that's not what this is. This is a test of your self-love. You have to change your reactiveness and your responsiveness to whatever situation is happening, because the universe is saying it's going to lead you to more to your intuition. It's going to help you enjoy your environment better, and then also lead to like relational abundance. I really hope that helps, Scorpio. You know, if there's anything that's not clear, I am doing like free personal readings. They just have to be pre-recorded. They're still really good. Hit me up, Instagram, or my email address is in the box below. I hope you have a great day. Bye.